welcome back to Aston Martin here in the Netherlands for race 15 of season numero 3. Pierre Gasly doing very well for himself, Aston Martin doing very well for ourselves, all together mix up to 5th in the championship. But it is the stomping ground of Max Verstappen and his orange army, so fan-wise we'll be up against it today. Not quite sure that factors into the calculations of the game though, but no team news to speak of, so we'll just go straight to qualifying. See you then. Well, that could have gone better. Not really going to talk over the results, but the story is played out there for you. Remarkably, that's still 14 out of 15, so I think the majority comes through setup confidence, doesn't it? Yeah, 9 of 15, so that's good. So Mick's just lacking a little bit on reactions on this one particular race. That's it. He might have crashed and retired twice. Good news, of course, he was using his dud gearboxes both times, so I think this is the place where we take his penalties anyway. He was going to need another round at some point, and I think this is where we do it. Pierre might need another round before the end of this season, so I'm still wondering what to do with him, because he's either going to have to take penalties in a very late race in the season, or he's just going to be on relatively worn parts in those last few races, which similarly will cost him time. So it's whether or not you want him at the back and then actually have a race trying to get to the front, or you just have several races where he's probably not going to be that good. I did give Mick one new of everything. I probably didn't need to give him a new ERS, but I figured he's going to be at the back via the other two parts anyway, so what the hell? And the very least, if he crashes again and loses those parts. Ooh, is that Max? Has Max just gone straight away? No, that was Perez, I think. Interesting, who's come out first? Wasn't expecting it.
Rain still coming.
Oh, was there? I forgot there was no rain in practice 3. There's going to be rain in this. It was heavy rain both days, and there was no rain in practice, so there's going to be rain here. Oh, that was important. Thing is, I think a bunch of people are going to get lap times in here. I'm not sure whether these guys are on flying laps or out laps, but Merc, Alpine, Haas, and the other Ferrari, I believe that to be. And one of the AlphaTauris has just gone. Obviously, stupid AI aren't sending everyone out, but there's probably not really much need to change anything. It's not started raining yet. Soon. Bottas has gone slower than Mick. That was the crucial one, because that's 5 cars slower before it starts raining. That was the one I was worried about, because I could have quickly got them out a second time, to be fair, but I figured the other Williams at least hadn't gone round, so that was going to be the 5th. And now there's water. First life for Sargent, he's been mugged off there. He had a very good chance of getting through if he'd gone before it rained, but they did do Sonoda though. Looks like Sargent went out on the correct tyre at least, but yeah. Max Verstappen didn't go until it started raining, and now it's gone to wet. I thought he might just sneak through as the fastest of the wet drivers, but the conditions changed on him. Sargent is still through, because Norris isn't going to go fast. What are they doing? Someone's... Oh, I genuinely for a moment thought that Perez was going out on softs, but it's the red rims. Also, they've gone out with like a minute and a half again. Is my game broken? Because they're not even going to get across the line, let alone better lap anyway. So Max Verstappen is out in Q1. Charles Leclerc, Bottas, Max Verstappen and Vettel will have penalties that pre-exist as well. Partly cloudy, 0mm on track. Okay, so dry conditions to start this session, which is odd, considering it's technically like 4 minutes after the previous one, and it'll be dry throughout. So absolutely send them out on the used tyres that first time round then. If it had been a case of getting way at the end, I would have sent them out with fresh tyres just to make sure they did the absolute best time. But this session is entirely dry, so we'll do the normal qualifying procedure. Don't think anyone got in our way, which is nice. Bottas much faster. That has been concerned. Leclerc off the pace. Don't know if he got stuck on someone. Of course, there's 2 Williams in this session as well, so that does make the Q3 potential that much more likely. Bottas being half a second ahead of Russell is curious. I'm also trying to work out when to send the cars out. I'm thinking around 150, 2 minutes. I mean, that will guarantee them. I don't know if I even need to, but I kind of want to know what Sainz does, but he's not going to get across the line in time. I genuinely think my game's broken, by the way, because everyone seems to be massively out of sync time-wise. Sainz is not going to get across the line. Well, he's not going to be able to do a second round of things anyway. But I also feel like we can't really send him out. I'm tempted to risk Mick here. Mick's the only one I would send out again. Oh, that was Sainz's outlap. The longer this goes without anyone actually going out, the less likely it is they'll actually get a lap in. Something's gone wrong with my qualifying sessions. I don't need to send anyone because no one's come out. The first vehicles are coming out on 1 minute 20. They're not going to get across. That's a Williams next, so that's made things even better. Leclerc is probably the first one out of those that's going to be a problem. No point sending anyone else out. No one's going to get across the line in time. The Haas will get close. Oh, Kevin Magnussen has just made it. Kevin Magnussen, who was effectively the first person to not make a checkered flag in any session qualifying wise, who, you know, made a mistake in that respect. it was calendar year 1, and we also got caught in that because we were behind him, thinking it was going to be fine because the AI don't make that kind of mistake. He's the only person to have made the line here. I mean, I'm just watching him now. See what he actually does. Does he get in the top 10? He does. Good for him. Good for him. Okay, 2 Williams, 2 Alpines, and George Russell. K-Mag sneaks in because George did a really poor lap, actually. That's entirely on George. Still dry. Yeah, I'll just use the Q3 tyre. We've got 2 sets of softs. To be honest, I really need to send Mick once. Although, it depends who's in this top 10 who also has penalties. I think Leclerc's one of them, isn't he? Perez is going to be a problem.
Small sprint.
Ooh, interesting. Albon might have just stolen pole because Perez got in our way. And now it's wet on track. Good job I used the Q3 tyre. Because that means we've got 2 sets of softs for the race. It's not going to dry up, is it? No. Okay, well, no point going out again. Gasly's going to line up behind Albon off the lead. And Mick has beaten every other driver who had penalties. Guaranteed. And no one else is even setting off in time. Something's gone wrong with my game. All 3 sessions this time and all 3 sessions last time, all the drivers, AI drivers, have not gone out in time. This feels problematic now. Okay, I've made a mistake here. I'm not going to lie. I know you just noticed it at the end of qualifying. And because my error in recording here is this way round, and it's qualifying that's got the problem and not the race, I'm going to just persist and not re-record qualifying. Apologies for that one. But yeah, Max was caught out by rain in the first session, Q1. He has penalties anyway, but by choice. Charles Leclerc, Bottas also penalties. Because Sergio Perez got in the way of our fast laps before the rain came in Q3. And then I presume we got in his way. So Albon snuck through and took pole because Pierre and Perez typically would have been faster otherwise. So a bit of a shame on that front. Good for Alex though. So whilst there was rain in practice and whilst there was rain in qualifying, dry race. Okay, we'll just quickly check because, okay, why does the safety car not save you any time? Apparently we've had no deployments at Zandvoort. I think that's technically true because we had a red flag, but people can crash here, so I'm not gonna. Okay, so soft to hard is barely going to get you there. Medium to hard isn't much better. Apparently 2-stop is faster. But again, this is kind of a... Mick does start 16th by virtue of being the best person with penalties. And Pierre's only got to get Alexander Albon off the line. Good for him, though. I do appreciate the fact we do have... Effectively, it's a K-Mag in Brazil situation. I appreciate it. I'm doing this because I think it gives you effectively the best chance to react.
It's the Dutch Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
So an interesting start. The Ferrari and... Oh, actually, it's always hard to tell the Red Bull because they have the red tyres to begin with. But he is on softs, Perez. He's also got Sainz off the line. Although he already had Sainz, I think. But he's going for Pierre now, which I don't appreciate. Alex goes to cover off Sergio and actually helps Pierre in the process. Because now Pierre's got the line on him through the right-handers. And another right-hander to boot there.
Good job.
And Pierre Gasly takes the lead off Alexander Albon. It's Red Bull stable 1, 2, 3, 4 technically, because Sainz started, I believe, in the Red Bull program. And now he can just sort of drive away. Someone's locked up further back. That is Daniel Ricciardo, who is falling because he's just parked up. Yep, just locked up into the chicane, I think we'll call it. Don't know if it really counts as a chicane, but it is a spot where people go off. I mean, I was forced to watch that, so no need to push anything now. Mix up to 13th, by the way. I knew we got Norris, but I didn't see him get Doohan. And Ricciardo's obviously a gifted position there. Hamilton did get Russell. Zhou Guanyu has got through Sonoda. Sargent is 10th. Verstappen's still only 18th. But Mick currently just staring at the back of Sonoda. 13th isn't a bad spot. I took penalties on Mick here. Not because he broke anything in either of the crashes he had in practice, actually. He did technically sort of break the gearboxes he was on, but the gearbox he was using to start with was about 50% to begin with, and he broke it to 35% effectively. Or 20%, sorry. He broke it down to 20%, so I put on a 35% gearbox, and he broke that one to about 25% as well. So I didn't really lose out much on that front, and I was semi-planning to bring him on a new set of things at this race anyway. That just sort of compounded the issue. I'd like you to have a better look at him, Mick, please. Gasly's now just driving away. My issue is, even in the medium to hard strategy, you can't push the tyre at all. I'm effectively just hoping Sonoda ends up outside of a second by the time we get to the checkpoint, which he wasn't. But I'm sort of also hoping now he'll just have a go anyway, as Zhou Guanyu gets Sargent ahead. Mick's put a wheel on, but it's not really going to be much more than that by the looks of things. Still trying. Oh, he's got... Where's the detection point for the main straight? It's before the curve, isn't it? So he's took him on the banked curve and then got DRS running away from him. Excellent work, Mick. I'll actually rewatch that one.
Right.
Because there's the detection point there. I think annoyingly, Tsunoda himself was actually within DRS range because I think you see his wing pop here. Yeah, but the good news is Mick also had it, so he didn't lose out. So that's good. Now Mick can just try to get on the back of Sargent. Zhou Guanyu and Sargent aren't detached from the main 9, we'll call it, as Perez gets Albon. Both Williamses are on soft tyres. Everyone should be on fresh soft tyres. Bottas sort of isn't, because I think he did go out on softs in Q3, even though he was still then just caught by the rain and put in a slow lap time. I think he would have technically used the softs as a result of that. But both Mick and Sargent have DRS here, which is unfortunate. I might need to deploy him past Logan. Leclerc's fought his way through to 14th now. Verstappen up to 17th. He's dealt with Bottas. I say as he gets him back again. That's the problem down there, because there's a few competitive drivers down there. Bottas, Verstappen, Norris isn't, you know, a bad driver at all, and the McLaren car isn't awful here. Unless you kind of get lucky like Leclerc has and got through a bunch of people at the same time and got yourself a bit of a buffer. Notably, the Tsunoda is the problem, of course. Oh, Sargent is a second out of line. He might be all right here anyway. Sargent will actually just be a sitting duck here regardless. I'll just let Gasly do it. Sainz has actually got Perez. Someone's locked up. Oh, it's someone at the very back. I think it might be Tsunoda. It was. So how come when Tsunoda goes off there, he gets a drive on? I want to see this because this is what Mick did in practice and then retired. So I want to see what his accident is. And that's worse than Mick's crash. Visually, that was worse than Mick's crash in practice, and yet Mick had to retire. Okay, so Mick is within a second of the cars ahead. That's helpful. It's Magnussen at the front of this queue. So it's all whether or not basically Mick is faster than Magnussen, and it does look like he is. Tsunoda falling out, I don't know if it's a useful thing or a bad thing for those drivers at the back. There's obviously one less car for them to have to clear, but it's the easiest car for them to have to clear, and therefore they're fighting each other more now because, like Leclerc got ahead of Tsunoda and then Tsunoda held them up. It provided a bit of a buffer. Now there's no buffer for them to kind of break free. So Leclerc's already free though, so Leclerc will get through here, I think. But Norris, Bottas, Verstappen is an unfortunate line of cars for them at the back. So Mick's on the back of Zhou Guanyu.
Can use energy.
If I can get Zhou
Okay, copy.
and get 10th, that would be nice. Ocon's at the front. That wasn't a long enough straight to really make a move. Zhou Guanyu's on softs as well. He'll pit first. And it's unfortunate for Albon. He's fallen to 4th now. He's clear 4th because Stroll exists. Okay, so we've deployed Mick. Unless he outbrakes Zhou Guanyu here, he's not really going to do anything, unfortunately. We'll take this opportunity to do the exact opposite and harvest instead. Because I don't think we'll lose the train if we harvest. It might be a case of harvest one lap, neutral the next. Someone just fell to the right at the back. It was Magnussen. I didn't see it, but he just went straight off and... Oh, he just went wide there. Now, see, that's one of those ones where he wouldn't have stopped in real life. He would have just kept on going and tried to fit in the best he could. That's one of those ones that we want to see fixed next year. Okay, so back to harvest for a lap. Come off fuel now. Zhou's at the front of this train now. How the hell's that happened? It's got to be said, though, Gasly's lead has come down, but at the same time, the drivers behind are on soft tyres. So there's going to be a phase of this Grand Prix where they do close up. I think it's probably by virtue of having the DRS overtakes is the main reason why they're closing, plus those soft tyres. Leclerc has joined Mick. That 15, Hamilton has got himself through Albon now into 4th. That's a great recovery from Hamilton, who qualified, I think, 12th. I mean, there's obviously penalties for 3 drivers ahead of him, so he would have started 9th, I think, but so that's still a very good drive from him so far. I mean, notably, Russell out-qualified him, and yet Russell's stuck in 8th. It's a good drive from Zhou, actually. He would have qualified. I think Zhou was knocked out in Q1, but obviously penalties put a bunch of cars behind him. So I think Zhou Guanyu would have started behind the 2 Williamses, wherever they started. So Zhou Guanyu would have started about 13th or 14th. I do love that poor hitbox there, where they just face through the wall. It's quite funny. But yeah, Mick's just stuck in a train, and I don't really have much I can do about it. I've got an awful feeling Leclerc will get him at some point. Oh, there has been a crash, and that is safety car crash. That's not good news for Gasly. Like I say, pit window's 15 laps away. This isn't an opportunity. Who's actually crashed? Vettel. Ricardo. That's annoying. 2 people on the back anyway. I think it's too early for even the soft runners to make this an opportunity. Gasly's already beyond the pit lane. Like, Gasly's on turn 1 already, so hards will not get to the end. We know this. It's saying 5 seconds slower net. Mix in 10th. I definitely do it that way around, because then if there's another safety car in the middle, we can go on mediums to the end. I'm just sort of looking at the cars behind as opposed to the cars ahead. I don't know what the last opportunity I have is. I just realised I've put that strategy on. He's got 2 soft tyres. Medium soft would actually get to the end. but you get a lot less pushing on it. You know what? We'll take the gamble. I wanted to pay attention to Zhou Guanyu to see if he went in on those softs. He didn't, but Mick's already committed. Bottas has gone. Bottas on softs. Bottas' softs were much worse than anyone else. Of course, in fact, actually going to the back, Danny Rick and Vettel are two of those cars that would have been the ones we would have had to clear it again. So we will get out ahead of Tsunoda because Tsunoda is ridiculously far behind. Has he caught the... No, he hasn't caught the safety car yet. There we are. I wonder if the safety car will come in. I think the point in which where the safety car would have considered coming in was just before Bottas got caught up. I know Tsunoda's yet to caught up, but he's miles behind. I don't know if he'll even bother waiting for him. Is Tsunoda just broken, by the way? No, he doesn't have a front wing on. Safety car is going to end, despite the fact Tsunoda hasn't got caught up. He was effectively a lap down already, so it was like he had to unlap himself regardless, but we don't have to be cautious with Mick, really. We will focus on Pierre for the time being, just because he is leading and he has... To be fair, he only lost like a second and a half. Tsunoda will at least get within 10 seconds of the end of the train by the time this restarts, which is quite nice. It comes flat. Weirdly, Tsunoda might be in a really good position to overtake Bottas if he just caught that train at the very good end. Good point there, because he was doing normal speeds around the rest of that corner. But Pierre gets a good restart. I just saw Tsunoda fly up at the back there. I was half expecting him just to go straight past, but Mick's got Magnussen by the looks of things. As has Bottas, actually. Pierre, though, driving off. Important that we build time up. I'll watch it, just because I didn't see it. Ah, there. There's where he made it work, and Bottas, I think, capitalises behind, because K-Mag leaves the door open for him as well. So he's still going to have another pit stop on everyone else, but he will have soft tyres at the end, whereas everyone else won't. Of course, there could be somebody doing soft, medium, soft. That was an option to begin with, and Bottas might have been the only one doing that. Although he's gone on hard, so... Mick's got Sargent. That one was crucial. No more tyre work there, please. No more tyre work there, please. You can keep burning fuel a little bit. I mean, Mick's on hards. Norris is on softs, but these three will pit soon, I'd imagine. Pierre's pit window's in 10 laps. Pierre's anticipated stop point is 10 laps time, and the soft tyres obviously come in first by several laps. So Mick's not going to be held off for too long. In fact, Hamilton, they've gone now, which is a crazy time to have gone. No wonder Bottas came in under the safety car with his slightly more used soft tyres, if they were just going to go 2 laps later. Mick is clear. Who's ahead of him? Ocon. Who's holding the train up, though? Albon. Is Mick going faster than Albon? He is. He's got DRS. Please explain to me how PS used 0.3 kilograms of fuel. Oh, Mick's just gone under. Okay. I was about to say, Mick was on 0.1 and Pierre was on 0.3, and yet somehow they both ended up on the same fuel after a few laps there. McGazzy's built up 3 seconds on the other two now. Their soft tyres obviously going off a bit. Surprised they've not pitted yet, actually. Pretty much every other soft runner has pitted. Ah, it's because they were doing the soft, medium, soft. So Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris and Jack Doohan are on a 2-stop strategy. So Mick is clear of them then, because they're going to pit again at the end. So the gap from Mick to Hamilton is legitimate. Everyone has to pit once now. And actually, Mick's having a go at Ocon here a little bit in the train. Yeah, everyone has to pit once, except for maybe Bottas, who might be trying to go to the end on them, but that's going to have its own problems. I might see if he can just try and get one of these. Come on, Mick, just get your nose in. Well, that's not good, because you're also going to wait for everyone. Why are you waiting? Why are you waiting? Okay, why did you wait for Magnussen? He was 12 seconds behind. Okay, the intervals lie to me. There was a 3-second gap between Bottas and Magnussen, and yet he couldn't pull into that. I do hate this game for certain things. That is one of them. I get he spun. There's a 2-second gap between Perez and Albon, which he could have easily just pulled back on in front of. Even if Albon had still overtaken him at that point, he still could have got back on him in that gap, but he definitely could have got out between Bottas and Magnussen. How many laps is it until your pit window? 2. I'm very tempted to get you to come in early. I'll get him to drive aggressive, burn the tyres as much as he can in these remaining 5 laps. I forgot Mick was deploying and forgot to take him off. He didn't even get Ocon in that. Now he's got Bottas for company. Perez is just pitted at last.
We just need to charge up.
I mean, if you're not going to try and overtake Ocon, I will try and harvest. Bottas is going to be a problem, but in a bizarre fashion, Gasly is going to be sort of well clear at the back. Oh, Gasly's already caught Tsunoda. I wasn't expecting that to have happened, actually.
Energy if you need it.
Okay. I'm going to use everything to get past Tsunoda. Has Bottas got through both drivers whilst I was harvesting? He has. Well, that's irritating. Bottas lost the train because of people pitting, I think. Ocon lost the train because of people pitting. Ocon will always be the last to blink on that front as well, which is the problem. But okay, so whilst going aggressive on those last few laps, it's actually still got Pierre pitting on exactly the same lap he would have anyway. I thought it might bring him in slightly early, but Mick's got Ocon. Oh, cool. So he's come out behind Magnussen still. Can't push the tyres, but had to just get rid of Magnussen as best we could. We'll push Mick's tyres. Fuel. Odd that he can't keep up with Bottas. Okay, so Pierre is fighting. Ocon, actually. Both our drivers are having fun with the Alpine driver today. Who is the one at the very back? Because Pierre's in a good spot to get both, but because of the way AI works here, Pierre's the one that's gone behind Sargent here. What is with the positioning? I hate this scenario. I really do. I really do hate this scenario. Because the driver in front will just arbitrarily choose who to defend from and just prevent you from overtaking. It's so irritating. It's not even Sargent. It was Tsunoda, actually. Right, so
It's good. Come on.
managed to harvest a little bit there. And now we've got Ocon because we're clear of everyone. Makes 4 seconds off. Bottas is driving away. But at the same time, he's going to go to the end on these hard tyres. And Mick's pit window is close, actually.
Push.
Okay, so this is the optimal lap for Mick to come in. I just do need to pause. Obviously, new soft tyres. Estimated position is 15 because it's 26 seconds suggestion, isn't it? A little bit annoyed how well Verstappen's got through that now, actually, when you think about it. Because he was about 10 seconds behind Mick after the safety car, but the 15th is Ocon. If we're very, very good, we get out ahead of Zhou Guanyu. In fact, actually, what was the last lap time? 3/10 faster. We'll try to do one blinding lap. And then get well clear. Because where Verstappen and Hamilton come out is... Oh, it's actually nowhere near as much as they said it was. If we can get ahead of Stroll, that'd be great. But if we're behind Verstappen, I'm going to be irritated. How are we behind Verstappen? We had 1.5 seconds.
So we're happy to let these tyres
Oh, Gasly got Zhou.
to back off. No save.
I think Russell will get Pierre back straight away here.
Lift and coast will help.
Come on, Mick. Get Lance, will you? What is that? I mean, it'd be easy pickings next lap, he says. Sure, whatever.
Single yellow.
I don't know what he's done there, but he's gone wide. Oh, he's done what Magnussen did, turn 2. And just obviously gone stationary. Pierre will catch everyone up again. He's got to get through them, of course. So this is now going to be soft versus hard tyres. Russell's locked up, which bizarrely hasn't helped. Oh, Russell locks up but doesn't really lose anything. Bottas has actually pitted again, surprisingly, which means Verstappen is now winning this race. Gasly's got Ocon back. He's caught up to him, faced through the wall and overtaken him on turn 1. We'll take that. So Mick is on the back of Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, and then Verstappen is leading by a mile because he's on soft tyres. I've got plus 0.4 fuel here. Actually, no, don't. Harvest. Harvest up here, Mick. Harvest. I think Pierre would be okay fuel-wise. I'm just going to be cautious. Come on, Mick. Use overtake mode. Get some of these, will you? These guys are so slow. They've lost 5 seconds on... How have you lost... Sorry, you just harvested for 2 laps. How have you used 60% of a battery on 1 lap? Mick just isn't capable. I want to tell him to drive in clean air, but Hamilton behind is going to make that a problem. Verstappen has fastest lap as well. Fascinated how low those soft tyres actually got on Mick. Should really be paying attention to that, shouldn't we? Let's see if we can get any of these people. I can't push that. So Max Verstappen somehow wins the Zandvoort Grand Prix. Mick is held to 4th.
That's checkered flag. Take all the pick up on the way in.
And now Norris got through Gasly before the end, unfortunately on soft tyres, so
Pick up you can.
wasn't really much Pierre could do at that point. That's unfortunate. Well, Max gets it back then, doesn't he? Pierre down 10 places to 12th, gets nothing. Mick up 11 places, at least does get 10 points. Unfortunately, his nearest rivals are 2nd, 3rd and 4th, which means Pierre scores nothing and Max gets the 26 points that Pierre got last time when Max got nothing. So we're back to status quo of a 60-point exactly lead. But the good news, at least for Mick, is that the people 2nd, 3rd and 4th at least scored in what was effectively possibly almost the best order. The only way that could have been better if Sergio was 2nd and Carlos Sainz was 3rd, but does keep that nice tight pack of 21 points between Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez in 6th. Bottas now notably clear of his teammate. Lewis Hamilton continues sort of vaguely being no man's land in 9th, but does have the potential of getting the Merc drivers. Alfa Romeo do score 2 more points. AlphaTauri get a little bit back on McLaren, but not anywhere near enough. Mercedes and Alpine are kind of having their own, just living 4th and 5th without any kind of problems whatsoever. And of course, Red Bull and Ferrari do close, quite notably, actually. Well, that was frustrating, wasn't it? Why did I not know we were designing a chassis? For some reason, that slipped my attention. Another tiny benefit suspension through, and a chassis. Again, tiny benefit, I imagine, because there was no hours remaining on that, I don't think. New ATR period. We will try and develop for Singapore. And when I say minor improvements, I do mean minor improvements. It literally doesn't change our position on the grid on anything. So all I've done is I've put all my eggs in a rear wing basket that we'll have for Singapore. Won't really benefit Singapore all that much, but a lot of the remaining races do have quite a significant benefit, particularly in DRS overtaking. So putting all our eggs in a rear wing basket for the remaining 6 races and having the most benefit for top speed, DRS, etc., all that jazz, I think is a sensible thing. Obviously, the long straight of United States, the long straight of Mexico, the main straight at Sao Paulo, along with actually the other DRS spot there, is pretty solid too. And of course, the 2 very long straights at Abu Dhabi. Even Japan has a couple of very long straights, only one of which I think is DRS, but Singapore is the one where it's not going to be that beneficial for. But that's the race is going to be here. It's going to turn up just in time for that. Of course, I would have loved it for Italy, but that's in 2 days' time. But, well, that was a weird one, wasn't it? Anyway, thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this somehow, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Bye now. Until next time. Ta-ra.